here with the Teaching, Learning, and Professional Education Center, which is commonly known as TLPEC. And we do quite a few things. Right now, our biggest thing is supporting the DEI efforts on campus. And personally, we're doing that by attending listening sessions and supporting some just educational efforts that are going on around campus for DEI. Specifically, one thing we did was the partnership thing that happened with CSC's Indigenous Recognition.
Yes.
The RRC. We just went to their Thanksgiving tribute and many other things. We also share learning resources on accessibility and inclusion within newsletters that we send out month to month. And so that's sort of our big focus right now at this time of year. And we just kind of wanted to talk to you about DEI things.
Sure.
That was kind of one of your kind of points I remember specifically from when you were interviewing and things. And so I had mentioned maybe it'd be a good idea to talk to you and just get some thoughts from you.
Absolutely.
DEI.
How can I help?
Yeah. So I just want to start off by asking you, what is DEI to you? What does it mean?
What does it mean to me? So, in Ron's world, right? if I had my way, it would be a world where obviously we just treat each other with love, respect, and care, and always thinking of the next person, right? So that's what DEI means to me. I really don't have a definition. I believe every human being has a place in this world, right? And it's our jobs as other human beings is to honor and respect that.
Yeah. There's a statement that I saw, and I kind of want to get your opinion about that with your non-definition of DEI. Diversity on college campuses are not achieved through quotas. What are your thoughts on that statement?
I believe it's true, and the reason why I say it because it goes back to, again, if we are aligning support, resources, strategies and initiatives, events, activities around everyone, then everyone is addressed, right?
Yeah.
And everybody feels included, involved, engaged, and belonged. And that's kind of my ultimate goal for Chadron State College.
Okay.
Because when you start putting numbers, then they don't become they're not human beings anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just
It's just a number.
That's number 52, and it's what's their name?
Absolutely.
You know them,
Absolutely. And that's why Rachel is so important, right? And Ron, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And so it's just treating each one individual differently because we're all unique.
Yeah.
We're not the same, right?
Yeah.
And it's trying to meet everybody kind of where they are in their journey.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. I think those are good thoughts, and I agree with that personally. I'm just oh, okay, great. We met, the numbers that we're meant to meet, but what does that say?
What does that mean?
Yeah. What does that look like? What do those numbers really represent further on?
Absolutely.
Okay. So then my next question, in your opinion, how does diversity, equity, and inclusion affect higher education and learning communities?
Well, I think it's very impactful. I think for a learning environment or a campus community to build community, I think you have to have diversity in lived experiences, perspective, and not just people of color, right? I think you have to have diversity across all areas in terms of the spectrum from different backgrounds because those voices add depth and breadth to the live or the learning experience, right? My learning experience is different than yours. And so on and so forth. And so when you have those individuals that are in a class, whether it's face-to-face or online, the learning experience should be extremely valuable to all that are involved and engaged. But you have to be involved and engaged in the classroom learning experience in order to gain something from it.
Yeah. So at one of the all-school meetings, you stated that you would like CSC to be an inclusive place that meets students where they're at and where retention is everyone's job. Would you like to expand on those ideas of how would we get there? What does that look like?
Oh, absolutely. I think it starts with me, obviously, as a president. And I think at the all-campus meeting, I was trying to throw that out there, but also lead by example. And one of the examples that I often share with my leadership team is that if I see a group of campus visitors on campus, I stop, right? I try to say hello and encourage them to really consider Chadron State College, but also let them know that I am someone who's approachable, accessible, even regardless of my title. And so in establishing a culture or a campus community that's inclusive, it starts there, right? Welcoming everyone to the campus, no matter who they are, where they're from, and getting to know them, but also introducing myself so that they know that they have a champion and an advocate here for them if they choose to decide to attend Chadron State College. And then also, again, continuing to spread that message across all of our departments, divisions, campus-wide. And so I have to model that. I can't just say it. I have to model it. And people have to see me doing those things.
Yeah.
And then I have to continually remind our campus committee, our community and constituents, students, faculty, and staff that this is where we should be. This is what students are looking for when they're visiting campuses. They're looking for that home feeling. They're looking for individuals who are going to get to know them by name. They're looking for individuals who are going to advocate and champion for them, regardless of the situation, right? Right or wrong. Now, through that, they get the opportunity to say, okay, this is a life learning lesson too, right? And so that's, to me, that's an inclusive, welcoming, and belonging community.
Okay, yeah, no, that's good. So then, your goal of making that inclusive, welcoming community, are there any specific things you're like doing besides, like leading by example, that's one, but like policies and things that you're seeing, maybe this can change to help foster a better...
I'm learning as I go, Rachel. I think not knowing all of the policies, procedures, guidelines, just trying to, as they come across my desk, or if I encounter a situation that's a guideline or a policy, then yes, I mean, I'm always looking for ways to continuously improve how we conduct business every day. And I think that's two. I think three is giving our leadership team, as well as our, as you cascade it down, giving them the flexibility and empowerment to know that they can also look through that lens of continuous improvement as well. And how can we better serve our students? How can we better serve each other as we, again, provide learning experiences and student educational experiences as well here on campus. And so those are some opportunities. Obviously, you can do it through programming, events, education and awareness. And I think as we continue to develop events and programs, as we continue to be diverse across our student population, faculty and staff as well, we'll be able to identify those programs that meet or fit that niche. There's some things that we will be looking at to do kind of administratively at the presidential level, create some programs that I think will help diversifying our faculty ranks, our staff ranks, and things of that nature as well, that I'm not ready to disclose yet. But those are things that I think, to answer your question, that will be coming in the near future. Okay,
yeah, very nice. One thought that I had as you were kind of going through that, because you're still relatively new to your position and to Chadron in general. Coming into Chadron, how did you think kind of our like DEI efforts look like? As in, like, what was already in place? Did you think it was effective? Did you think it was working well?
From the outside, from an external lens, I thought that was tremendous opportunity to do more administrative oversight. Not me as the president, but right now there's a committee. But you don't have really one person or persons dedicated to the efforts. Right? And so oftentimes when you have a committee, nothing really gets done. Right? Because you don't have somebody charged with, that's their day-to-day job. And so from an external lens coming in, I saw that was an opportunity that was missed here at Chadron State College.
Okay, very nice. So then another question, how does DEI and inclusion efforts affect enrollment?
It has tremendous effect on enrollment. And what I mean by that is, we as an institution have to be very intentional, strategic, and active in how we recruit prospective students. Meaning, we want students, again, across the entire spectrum. And that is of color, GPA, academic, performance, talent, et cetera, et cetera. And so a part of the enrollment mix is making sure that we are not one, attracting, but also pursuing diverse prospective students.
So then you see these parts of where we're failing at, in our DEI. What are your goals to not only improve DEI on campus, but just also to make sure that we're not failing and that we're reaching?
Well, I'd love to have a dedicated space. Right?
Okay, yeah. What dedicated space, what do you mean by that?
Dedicated space. Like a center.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Now, I wouldn't call it DEI, I would call it Center for Inclusion and Belonging or something. Or Center for Community, right? But it's a space for underrepresented minority students to go hang out, relax, in between class, whatever.
Yeah. No,
right?
Absolutely.
So part of me leading this institution is finding where are those empty spaces on campus that I could possibly dedicate, right, for that.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's one of my goals and visions for this institution. So I'm having those futuristic, visionary conversations right now. Are they going to happen overnight? No.
No.
It's going to take time and resources. But those are the conversations that are taking place surrounding DEI.
Okay.
There's also conversation around centralizing disability, right?
Yeah.
And so where does that go now? And so I'm having those conversations about that in terms of future strategies and initiatives too as well, Rachel.
You bring up of centralizing disability. Like, is Chadron doing a fairly good job at centering those students who might have those disabilities?
We're meeting their needs, but do they know where there's a centralized place for them to go? No. Just like you and I are having a conversation about what is your focus on DEI? Well, if you have to ask me that question, then you know we don't have a focus on it.
Yeah.
Same thing with disabled, right? It's because nobody knows exactly where to go for that particular space, time, question, advocacy, etc. And so to answer your question, there's a larger problem that we have to address, and that's really changing the culture, but also how do we meet the students where they are and meeting their needs as well.
Yeah.
And that's also part of this institution maturing, maturation in terms of its growth and how we develop and provide those services to our students. My vision for this campus is to know that if students are seeking individualized, student-centered focused areas, they know where those spaces are, right? And that's a vision and a goal that I have for Chadron.
Okay. And my last question is just, could you tell us about a positive and a memorable experience you had as a student?
I'll share one with you that I had in my doctoral program. I'll never forget that my dissertation committee chair said to me, "Ron, my job is to prepare you in such a manner you will walk through your dissertation defense with a breeze. I will not send you to that firing squad until you're ready." So that goes back to inclusion, belonging, and understanding and meeting me where I'm at. That's one example. In my undergrad studies, one of the best experiences I had was from my history teacher. I was a junior, and I didn't know how to study, Rachel. And I was a terrible student. I didn't know how to prepare for tests. And I didn't study for tests. I didn't know how to take notes. And one of my faculty member pulled me aside and he says, "You remember everything because you're always involved and engaged in class." He says, "But you don't translate it to the test."
Yeah.
And he says, "Have you thought about ever using note cards?" And then he took time after class and showed me how to use that note card to study for his test.
I mean, I feel like some faculty do a very good job at making, like when they see students struggling, to like pull them aside and say, "Hey, how can I help you?" Is that something you want Chadron to do more of?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want faculty and staff here who recognize the signs, who are very attentive to the students, and who inquire without having to be forced or asked to inquire. And that's the culture and environment that I want to set here.